We are about to begin. From diabetes, we actually go to the field of Ayurveda. And the next session is on the challenges of Ayurveda to acquire global recognition, whether it's possible in India, the road ahead. And the speaker is Dr. Ajayita Chanana, founder and CEO, Dr. Ajayita's Charak Ayurvedic Clinic. I now request Dr. Ajayita to please come on stage. Dr. Ajayita is actually a former beauty pageant and a certified Ayurvedic surgeon in beauty care. Dr. Ajayita Chanana is from Chandigarh and is much in demand for her counseling in cosmetic dermatology. Over to Dr. Ajayita.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Post-session, we had beautiful discussions, and before lunch also, we had very beautiful discussions. First of all, I would like to say and extend my deep thanks to Mr. Satya Brahma, who has given me this opportunity to be on this stage and to share my views with all the intellectuals as well as the think tanks here. The topic, what I am going to take into my hands now, is very crucial topic, and the topic is, are the challenges of Ayurveda to acquire global recognition possible in India? To have the answer, let's take a round of this talk. Before I start actually my talk, I would just like to quote this quotation from the text of Ayurveda. Swasthasya swasthya rakshanam aturasya vikar prashamnam I khalu Ayurveda prayojanam cha. Let me translate it to you. It's a very beautiful motto of this science that to rejuvenate and to preserve the health of the healthy and alleviate the diseases of the sufferer is the main motto of Ayurveda. So you can very well imagine what we have been listening right from the morning, since morning. We have been talking about the gruesome kind of the diseases. To name the few, we have the diabetes, we have the heart problems, we have the other chronic, non-communicable diseases, which we call as the NCDs. What if we look into the science, what it can really nip the evil in the bud itself. So here it comes the role of Ayurveda. This is a complete healthy structure of a body. Ayurveda, it is also known as the Ayurvedic medicine, is the traditional system of medicine in India, which originated in India over 5,000 years ago. And since then, it's been into the practice in India, and now it's getting the popularity in the Western world too. Well, Ayurveda is composed of the two words, that is Ayush, means the life, and Veda means the knowledge. The basic principle of Ayurveda, as I said right in the beginning, it is to prevent and to treat the illness by maintaining the balance in body, mind, and consciousness through the proper drinking, diet, healthy lifestyle, as well as in composition or in combination with some herbal medicines too. These are the three lifestyle pillars. As we heard a talk post-lunch, the first talk by Dr. Jumani, what he was giving an emphasis on the sexual life, Ayurveda, it is into the text that we should have a total balance between the food, what we eat, the kind of sleep, what we have, and the regularization or the indulgence in sex too. Well, nature is the source of 87% of the drugs used to treat all kind of the customized human diseases or the human ailments, and it is developing in the developing countries. 80% of the people, they rely on the herbal medicines for their primary health care. Over 300 species of the plants, the medicinal plants, they are found in India, but unfortunately, this sector is not explored to the extent what it should have been explored as yet. New scientific researches and the clinical data, it is coming out through all these traditional medicines, and it is leading to the discovery of the efficacious drugs too. Ayurveda definitely claims to treat or to create, or I would say to alleviate, certain kind of the chronic diseases or the long-standing kind of the non-self-limiting diseases like cancer and the diabetes too. And India has a rich diversity of the medicinal plants, of which a large section remains unexplored. When we are talking about Ayurveda, the synergistic or the helping hand to Ayurveda is always yoga. They all go one into one, and they are the left part or the right part of the human body. Yoga is very widely recognized and practiced in Asian as well as the Western countries, and you might have noticed there is an increased upsurge or the rampant upsurge in the opening of the yoga centers or the yoga studios around the world in the last 4 or 5 decades. Well, to name it that yoga, I would say it's a one single drug-less kind of the module of the treatment which can be or which should be used in treating certain kind of the chronic diseases, or it can be used as an adjuvant system of the medicine in combination with the other systems of the medicine. Maybe it's allopathy or maybe it's Ayurveda. Well, what does Dr. Abdul Kalam, the former president of India, says? It's a very beautiful quote, what he has mentioned, and it has a very scientific approach too. Former president of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, has opined that the best method for preventing disease is Ayurveda because it is a comprehensive system based on natural medicine which is devoid of toxicity. Though medical technology is advancing rapidly, people are affected by diseases, and the cost of healthcare is increasing, which is definitely a talk of the town or the talk of the seminar too. Unless some kind of the preventive medicine or the method is applied, the cost of healthcare cannot be reduced. We definitely agree to this. Prevention through Ayurvedic system is the best way to bring down the cost. I definitely agree to this because I have the scientific data for this. He further added that the Institute of the Genomics and the Integrative Biology has carried out an interesting research study to correlate the pattern of the genomic profiles into 3 Prakritis and Triguna. Just allow me to give you the brief illustrations of this. We come across with the many kind of the patients while we are into the clinical practice. We do prescribe the same kind of the medicine with the same kind of the disease profile, but the one patient is recovering very fast, the other doesn't even respond to the treatment. So we have no answer to this. But if we go into the clinical details, every single individual is different than the other individual, and the constitution of the one person is always varying from the other person. So we have to make a judgment what kind of the constitution of this patient has and how does it differ, though he is affected with the same kind of the disease profile, but still he is different than the other. And here comes the role of the Prakriti Parikshan or the constitutional analysis, where the Dr. Abdul Kalam has also mentioned it. So it's a very good correlation emerged from this study indicating the scientific rationale of Ayurveda. What are the statistics? Before I take up the statistics, we heard that Dr. V. Mohan has given a very beautiful clinical data that people suffering from diabetes, and it's a horrendous kind of a data, what we had come to know in the morning, that by 2020, the people, or after 10 years now, people suffering from the pre-diabetes, they would be diabetic. Or people suffering from NCDs, that is non-communicable diseases, would be 10 times higher than what we have right now. So we can very well imagine what kind of a nation strength we are going to have down the line, 10 years. So what are the clinical statistics or the statistics which force us to think upon this, that why not to have the kind of the clinics or the kind of the education system? Then what we are educating to the society right now. Shall we opt for a kind of a system where we educate the people to go for the kind of the healthy lifestyle or the kind of their dietary habits so that they do not land up into such kind of the gruesome diseases what we have been hearing? The kind of the stratum, what the medical practice is nowadays going on, like we try to create a balance, or we try to save a patient who is suffering with kind of the some diseases which have a very high mortality rate. But if we can have a system of education or the system of learning, that we educate a person to have a good healthy lifestyle so that due to its repercussion, they do not achieve to that target where they are supposed to have to shell out a heavy amount from their pockets to fight out the disease, or to buy just some time from God to be sustainable in this world. So India's wellness market is estimated at INR 490 billion, and wellness services alone comprise of its 40%. The Ayush sector has an annual turnover of about INR 120 billion. The sector is dominated by micro, macro, and the medium kind of the enterprises, accounting for more than 80% of these enterprises, which are definitely located in the identifiable geographical clusters. The product market is worth about INR 40 billion, with over-the-counter products such as digestive products, health food supplements, and pain balm constituting about almost 75% of the segment. And India has 9,000 units engaged in the manufacture of Ayush drugs. Ayush alone exports in 2013 and 14 amount to INR 22.7 billion. Of the exports, raw material herbs constitute for INR 11 billion, medicaments constitute for INR 9.7 billion, and medicinal extracts constitute for INR 1.9 billion. The biggest markets for Indian raw material or the Indian herbal products are Western Europe, Russia, USA, Kazakhstan, Nepal, Ukraine, Japan, Philippines, and Kenya, etc. And to be on the proud side, India has 6,600 medicinal plants found in the Himalayan region around its coastline, deserts, and the rainforest ecosystem. More than 32 million people are practicing yoga in the USA alone, and the demand of yoga across the world is growing exponentially. So what we talk about, what are the growth drivers of this industry? The government of India has set up a dedicated department of Ayush, which is an acronym of Ayurveda, Yoga, and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy, with the aim of providing impetus to these traditional systems as well as with the targeted thrust. In many places in India, the Indian system of medicine is the only system of the medicine which comes up with an answer to the unaddressed kind of the diseases which the other system of the medicines cannot address, and that too with the affordability, and that too with the accessibility of the patient in his physical stratum, lying into his physical stratum as well as the mental stratum, and on the top with the monetary stratum of the patient. Department of Ayurveda, or let me use the acronym now, Ayush, it provides the ample opportunities for investment, education, research, health services, and training in the Ayush sector. Secondly, the department has a central sector scheme for promotion of international cooperation, which aims to bring the global acceptance of Ayush, that means all these traditional systems, and to give a boost to the Ayush products and to increase the awareness of the Ayush strength so that it can establish the Ayush academic chairs in the foreign countries too. As we discussed, or as we know, what our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, has already mentioned in one of the very prestigious talk, One of the main reasons for this surge in the Ayush, for the surge in demand for Ayush, is concerns related to the escalating health cost factor, which we have been listening since morning, and the adverse effects of the chemical-based drugs, and the adverse effects